Okay, so over the weekend I've been working on some new Runescape bot sort of stuff, so I figured I'd just do like a recap of what I've been doing, what the plan is for the future of it, and basically just go over the code I've done so far and what the changes are and why I think this is necessary. So you might have seen the Runescape G merchant bot that I've posted on my YouTube channel a few days ago. So what I want to do is I want to recreate that, but in a more robust way and in a more undetectable way for regex. So like there was things in it such as it would always click the same point at certain points. So for example, like clicking the quantity box in the G would always click the exact same pixel. It didn't move the mouse in like this sort of way. It just teleported to the point it was going to click and then clicked there. Go watch the video back, you'll see what I'm talking about. It's quite obvious what it's doing. So yeah, I wanted to recreate the RuneScape bot again, and some guy that saw that wanted to collaborate. So we've ended up creating a GitHub repository, which I didn't know how to use GitHub at the time, so I've learned a bit about how to use that. So I might do that in a separate video. If anyone's interested, feel free to let me know, and I'll definitely add that as a video if people are interested in that. How to use GitHub. It's quite interesting actually. I was quite impressed that it's as simple as it is and as powerful as it is. So we've been working on this together now. This is the very early stages. Basically, what we've done. If I add just 1 second while I add this. Right, here you go. So this thing right here. Now this is the folder that we've got everything in. So we have our custom modules. We've got these 3 modules here, which are all open in Sublime at the minute, so we can go through them in a sec. Now we've got our tools. So we've got our screenshot tool. Actually, are all the modules open? No, G limit finder isn't. So let me open that. Okay, so there's them all open now. We've got tools, we've got the screenshot tool, we've got a couple of screenshots that I've taken. We've got our main G merger file, and then we've got like the readme and the requirements on the requirements. Not sure why it's a Python file, it should probably just be a text file. It's basically just going to be a list of all the modules that you need to have installed on your computer to be able to run this. Well, that's the plan anyway, so that if we ever share this with people, it should be quite easy for them to implement on their own computer. So we're going to take a look at the modules we've got created, and then we'll come back to this main code and I'll go through what this does so far. But this doesn't do too much at the minute. It's very early stages. It doesn't actually do anything really. So let's start with the G limit finder. So what this does, we import RE, which is a regex module. It's basically a way of parsing through text, and you can pull out certain things that you want. Go look up this module if you're not sure what it does, but I'll talk through what I'm using it for here. And then we import URL lib.request. So we're going to use this to connect to the internet and pull like web pages and pull information from the internet. So we define this function right here, pull item limit web page. So what this is going to do, you don't pass anything in here. This is just going to pull this specific web page. So that from the RuneScape wiki, it's going to pull the Grand Exchange buying limits web page. So if I open up the internet, so it's this web page right here. So you can see it's got all the different items on with their corresponding limits. Now this connects to that web page and saves the I think it's like a, is it a binary it returns or something? Basically, it returns some sort of version of this and saves it as wiki source. Now I take that version and I read it with the read method. Now I save this in string format under as wiki source again. I think it's actually already in string format, but I just did this to be sure. So I return this code from the page. Now this is returned from this module, and now that's the end of that module. That's all that module does. All that function does. Sorry. Now parse web page. This is going to take in this wiki source, and it's going to take in an item name. And what it's going to do is it's going to take the item name in. It's going to strip it of its white space. So take the spaces out of it, and it's going to replace them with underscores. The reason it does that is because if I just open up the source on this web page, so if you look through this source right here, there we go. So if you look through this, if we can try find an item somewhere. Right, these will do it. So you see all these, it's like the Twin Furies, you see how it's like, it's got an underscore, it's another space, and Calfight King has an underscore, it's another space. So the reason it strips it of its white space and put underscores in is just that it made parsing a lot easier. So you can see, here we go. So Abyssal Lurker Pouch has underscores and no spaces. Now here, you might say it has spaces and no underscores, but yeah, I chose to look for the underscore text. I'm not actually sure why I did that. I could have searched for this one because it's the same format, but yeah, for some reason I didn't. So anyway, so it does that. It pulls out the white space and puts in the underscores. Now, we actually don't need this line. This line was just a test line while I was figuring out how to do this. Okay, so now it takes this, it creates this variable called search word. Now search word is going to be the string exchange colon plus the item name. So we've just found the item name right here. We've stripped it of its white space plus a quotation mark to say we're at the end of the item name. So if you see on this page again, you see the Abyssal Lurker Pouch right here. So it starts exchange colon, then it has the name of the item, and then it has a quotation mark right here to signify the end of the text. The reason you need to find this quotation mark is for things that, say for example, coal. You could find, say, coal, and then you could find charcoal. No, it's not for coal. Sorry. I can't remember what the item was, but there's certain items where basically it could start out with. So you could have, say, adamant boot, and then you could have like adamant boot space E. So I think that was the problem. I think Onyx bolts E were the problem. You have Onyx bolts, and then you have Onyx bolts space open bracket E close bracket. So to stop it like not being able to tell the difference, basically you need to find this these quotation marks to signify the end of the text. So basically the reason I'm creating this string and this variable in the way that I am, like with this particular set of strings, is just to try and find only the item that I want to. Now what I do next is I split the text using the re.split method. So this comes from the regex module up here. What this does is basically it looks for, so you see I've put in right here these open curly brackets and a 0. What this does is just let me replace it with something. So I do dot format, and then I'm escaping the search word. So this is probably the most complicated line of it. Now what this does is basically it replaces this 0 here because of the dot format. I've used this before. Because of the dot format, this 0 and the curly brackets get replaced with search word. Now because I've done re.escape on it, none of the search word characters are going to be taken as special characters. So for example, in regex, there's a lot of special characters that are used to denote different things. So for example, like down here, I'm using square brackets, so they're special characters to denote different things. So basically, I'm just making sure that I don't actually accidentally have any special characters in here. What it's going to do is it's just going to tell the regex module, right, anything that's in search word is not actually a special character. Don't treat it as such. Just treat it as the exact text. So it's gonna, what this is gonna do is it's gonna search the wiki source text, which is the stuff that we pulled from the web page up here. Now it's gonna search that until it finds this thing. So it won't actually find that. It's gonna replace, remember, with a search word. So until it finds search word, when it finds search word, it's gonna split the text into two. So it's going to create a list. The first half of the list will be all the text up to the split, and the second half of the list will be all the text after the split. You'll see I've got max split equals 1, so it's only going to split the text once, so it finds the word. It's not going to try and find the word twice and then split it into like 3 different things. So basically I just end up with 2 halves of text. Now, say I was finding Abyssal Lurker. Where's it gone? So Abyssal Lurker pouch right here. See, I was trying to find this pouch. What it would do is it would find this text, and now you'd have 2 sets of text. All the text previous to this, so on the left of this, would be in the first element of the list, and now everything afterwards would be in the second element. Now, if I try and grab this over, so you can see here now we've got the Abyssal Lurker pouch. So after this, you'll see there's no numbers. So this is really important. Now there's no numbers until the next line, and this next line, oops, wrong one. This next line has the limit on. So actually, this 5,000 is the limit for the Abyssal Lurker pouch. So it's gonna know that the next number it finds after the split is the limit, and the limit is obviously what we're looking for with this. We're looking to try and return this limit. So this splits the text. Now result, this searches the text for any characters that are 0 to 9, so 0, 1, 2, 3, all the way up to 9, and then a comma, or commas, sorry, and it'll try and match 1 or more of these. That's what this plus means. Now if you're not sure anything about the regex module, feel free to go look all this up. I don't really want to go too in depth on any of this, but basically this is going to search for a number, including commas. It allows commas because you'll see the numbers in the source code have commas in them. Now it searches the split text 1, the first element of split text, so it ignores this, the first half. The limit is the result.group 0 because this returns a regex format like object, and I want to pull out the limit only, which just so happens to be this, and this returns the limit. Now to pull all this together, we have find limit, which is going to be what we're going to call it with a list of item names. Now item limit is going to start out empty. Then we're going to get the wiki source, and we're going to pull item limit web page to find this, which is this exact thing up here that we went through. So this thing is going to return the wiki source, which gets put into the wiki source variable. Now we say for I in item names, so item names is going to be this list that we pass in. Item limits dot append parse web page I wiki source. So I is going to be the item name, and then wiki source is going to be this thing that we're passing in. So we're going to pass in. So for example, if we pass in item names equals, say we pass in call, say we pass in rune bar. Now it'll pass in call for the first one, then it'll go to the next line, it'll pass in rune bar for the second one, then it'll say for I in range length item limits. So item limits will now be too long because we'll have added 2 different things. We're going to say item limit equals int item limit, and we're going to replace the commas with nothing. So we're just going to strip the commas out because basically this, you'll see in a sec, but you'll see what it's going to return. So I'm just going to try and run this now. So I'm going to say find limit, and I'm going to call that with the item names list. Okay, so if I print this, also going to print out the item names. There we go. So you see we get coal and we get rune bar. It says that coal has an item limit of 25,000. It says rune bar has an item limit of 10,000. Now, if I comment out this list that I just created and I put in this other list, which is like 97 items long, and it's basically every item that my other script was working on. So you see, it's pretty fast. It gets all 97 almost instant. We have incandescent energy, 25,000 limit. We have coal, 25,000 limit. We have fire rune, 25,000 limit. You see, everything's here. Now, I'm not going to go through all these, but basically, you see raw tuna here as an item limit of 20,000, so they're not all just 25,000, it did get different ones. You see it's got 500 here, which I'm assuming is for magic notepaper, I'm not certain, but I think it is. So yeah, you see, this basically pulls all the item limits from an item names list. So, really handy. It means that I don't have to type out by hand the item limits anymore, which I did in the previous code that I made. So I'm just going to get rid of this, don't need this anymore. I'm going to resave that. And I think that is all the changes that I made to that one. So, next code. We've got point from box. So what this does is it imports the random module, and it takes in you need to take in like the top left corner of a box plus the bottom right corner of a box, and it'll return a random point from within that box. So say you want to click on say this button right here, so this sort of box. Say you want to click in that box, you'll pass in this corner right here, you'll pass in this corner right here, and it'll give you one random point, so like a random X and a random Y, that are within that box, ready for you to click. Just so this is going to help us just randomize points. Really simple how it does this, uses the random.randint method. But yeah, not too much to do with this one. This doesn't even really have to be an extra module. This could quite easily have just been an extra function in the GE merger script. But yeah, I chose to make it random an extra module, so this might change in future, but for now, that's what it is. Next one, we've got screenshot tool. So this screenshot tool is really handy. What it does is actually I'm probably better off running this, so let's run it. Now to run this, we've got to type in the name of it as dunder main dunder. So the reason that I do this, so these two lines here, the reason I've started adding these is because if we're going to be importing modules, you don't want the modules to run on their own. So like for example, you see this one, you see how normally I'll have like, in my other code for example, I've always had like down here I'll have always had a like a main like this to run the main. So for example in this one it would be like find G limit, and I'd just run this like every time I opened it. Well, I don't really want to be doing that now, because now I'm importing modules. I don't really want all these running as they've been imported and stuff, and not running when I'm not meaning them to be. So to stop stuff like that happening, you just run these two lines here. So this is only going to run if I pass in main as the name of it. So if I pass in that, okay. So what have I done? Oh, okay, I'm in the wrong directory. There we go. Now, what would you like to save the screenshot as? So we're going to save this one as example.png. Place the cursor over the top left corner of the box you'd like to screenshot and press enter. So I'm going to try and screenshot all of this text right here. So I'm going to place the mouse right here. This is the top left corner of it. Oops. Need to click back on this so it actually takes my enter. So place the mouse here, press enter. Now place the cursor over the bottom right corner of the box you'd like to screenshot, press enter. So I'm obviously going to cut off most of this text, especially the text that goes off the screen, but I'm basically just going to get all the code, not the like text that's going to be displayed on the screen. So bottom right corner of the box right here, press enter, and it's done. So if I go into here, into tools, into screenshots, see example, this is the file we've just made, and now let's see this. There we go. So that's the screenshot right there. So you see it did work. It got the from the top left corner, the bottom right corner. So this is basically just going to be. I'm just going to delete that because obviously I don't need this. But this is basically just going to be really useful for grabbing these screenshots that we need to grab like the different slots and the different items and stuff like that. Yeah, I thought this would just be a useful tool to have. So okay, so that's what this does. I'm not going to go through how it does it. It's quite simple. You could read through this code on your own and figure it out if you wanted. All you need to know about is the pyautogui.screenshot function. You need to know what the input function does. It just basically, this is the way that I'm waiting for the enter. Yeah, that's pretty much all you need to know. So have a read through that, figure that out on your own if you like. Now the final one, and the final module is this function called realmouse. Now this is really incomplete. The guy I'm working with, he's working on this at the moment, but I made up this little code up here just to get it working for now. This basically, it takes your current x and your current y. So this runs on the pyautogui and the random modules. Now the idea of this script is to take in a point and move your mouse to that point, but move it in the most realistic way it can. So my realistic way, it isn't very realistic, but it's a lot more realistic than my previous attempts. So I will run this in a second, you'll be able to see what it does. But basically, it takes in an x and a y. Now it saves the current x and y as the current position of your mouse. Then it works out the distance between the current position you're at and the position you want to be. The duration of the move is then calculated using a random number, using the distance, so the distance we just worked out, so how far away the point is that you're moving to, and then like going through this calculation right here, so you can read through that if you want to see what it does, but basically just it finds like a random duration based on the distance. Now after that it does pyautogui.moveTo, moves to xy, it takes the duration of the move as how long it wants to take, and it uses this pyautogui.easeInout quad. It uses this method as its like way of moving. So what this does is it starts out slow, it speeds up towards the middle, and then it ends up slow again. You'll see in a sec when I run this, but it's quite interesting. I didn't actually know this existed. I looked this up and it was quite interesting. They've got quite a lot of other ways of moving as well. They have like ease in quad, they have ease out quad, they have like bounce, elastic or something. There's one called that. There's a lot of different ways of moving that all like are meant to be just basically they're moving a straight line, but they have like different variations in speed along the way, along the trajectory. So let's see if we can get this running. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just add a line down here. We're going to call move mouse to, and we're going to move to, so we'll go 1980, 1000 there. Oops, 80, sorry. Actually, that might be, let's do 1500, 900. That should be on the screen for you to see. Ah, okay. So if I close this, sorry for all the noises. Ah, okay. So I had an old version of the file. He's edited it since. So yeah, he's got all this extra code in now that is commented out because it doesn't currently work, but it will eventually. Now let's just add this here. So got move mouse to, gonna have 1800, 1500, sorry, and 800. Okay, so can you see my mouse? No, you can't. Damn. So you can see it there, and you can't see it there. Interesting. There you go. Hopefully you saw that. Hopefully I was quick enough. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to add a quick sleep in here. Okay, so I'm going to run this. Click up here, so you see the mouse. Now there's it moving. So if I change his coordinates, if we make this a little bit higher, do this again. Now the mouse is here. There we go. So it being moved down there is obviously all the computer moving it. So you can see, it does actually move the mouse in like a kind of realistic way, but obviously in a perfectly straight line isn't realistic. So that's what all this code down here is hoping to achieve later on. So yeah, that's where we're at for now. These are obviously like the modules we've been using for now. So back to the main code, and we'll see what we're doing here. So what we're doing here, we're importing PyAutoGui, we're importing time. Now we're saying from custom modules import realmouse and point from box. So these are the two modules that I've just been through, and these are placed in their own folder called custom modules. So that's why you have to do from. Now main, this is obviously going to be our main function. We've got list of RuneScape windows, and we call detect RuneScape windows to find this. So we may as well jump to this, see what this does. So detect RuneScape windows is down here. Now what this does, this function will detect how many RuneScape windows are present and where they are. So we have list of RuneScape windows, it's empty. Now for I in PyAutoGui.locate all on screen, collect all buttons.png. So collect all buttons.png is this thing right here. So I can't actually open RuneScape at the minute because there's an update going down, so I can't show you this thing in action. But basically what it does is it tries to locate this button. So one of these buttons per screen, per RuneScape window. So it knows if it finds one of them, it's found a RuneScape window. So I can open up two RuneScape windows and it'll find two of them. Really clever. So for I in each one of those, the list of RuneScape windows dot append, and it will append these particular coordinates. Now these coordinates will be the bottom right coordinates of the window. Again, I can't show you because RuneScape's having an update, but if I could, it would make a lot more sense. I will show this in a later video, this working, when the update's done. Then it returns this list. So this list is just, for each window, there'll be an X coordinate and a Y coordinate that will be the bottom right corner. Not too complicated. Now, for each one of those, so for I in list of RuneScape windows, we're gonna print out all these different things. So I actually I didn't go through. So RuneScape instance, this thing right here, this thing that's highlighted. Now this thing is a class. So this class right here, it gets called to create the window. So list of RuneScape windows isn't actually just going to be this coordinate. It's going to be a list of objects. Sorry, I got so confused then. So it's going to be a list of objects. Now these objects are going to be created using these coordinates. these coordinates get passed into this class. The coordinates are its position. So the bottom right corner is its position. The top left corner is its position minus these particular coordinates that are the size of the window that I've found. Now, it can detect whether or not it's a member, so self.memberStatus will be equal to memberStatusCheck. It will take in the coordinates of the top left corner and the coordinates of the bottom right corner. So memberStatusCheck is right here. It says the width is this, the height is this, and it says if the length of this list is going to be whether or not it finds a non-members slot. So if we look at, I open up this again. So a non-members slot is this thing. You might know this if you've played RuneScape before, but basically when you're not a member, the available G slot, so this button right here, a lot of them get turned into these non-members slots, so they're like sort of marked out with like this mesh that they put over them, and have empty at the top. So this is basically just a picture of a non-member slot. You don't have any of these if you're a member, so it makes it really easy to detect whether or not you are a member. So basically it just searches for one of those in the boundaries of that particular RuneScape screen. If it finds one, then it returns false because you're not a member. If it doesn't find one, then else return true, so you are a member. So there's the member status done. Now list of GE slots, this just counts the number, counts the GE slots and returns them as a list of like the coordinates of where they are, like the corners of them. So count GE slots is down here. Very, very similar thing, just using the image of available GE slot instead. And it returns the list of the GE slots. Now self.money just for now equals 20 million, just a hard-coded number. Later on this will probably change, but I'm not too sure how we'd be doing this. I don't know what benefits we'd get from changing this, but maybe we will, so I added this. Now self.profit. So profit equals 0 to start with, so this is going to track the profit of each window. So obviously the idea of this is to have multiple RuneScape windows all being able to merge at the same time, because when you only have one window, it turns out it's just sat waiting for a lot of the time. So I figured, why not try and get like 4 windows up at a time, or like 8 or something. I have 2 monitors, so I could quite easily get up 8 RuneScape windows on, and I'm quite interested to see if I can get 8 merch accounts going at the same time. Definitely going to be trying that. So this will track the profit of each individual one, and then obviously I could have like a total profit tracker somewhere else in the script, which I do plan on adding. Now self.last action time equals time.time. So what this is going to track is, because if you don't do anything for like 5 minutes on RuneScape, it logs you out automatically. This is going to track the time of the last action, so it tracks like how long it's been since it's done something, and whether or not it needs to do something again to stop it logging out. Now the rest of this stuff, in a really roundabout way, just does one action per RuneScape window. It finds the money bag, right clicks it and clicks examine, so it finds out which money's in there. It's basically, it doesn't have to do that. The only reason it does that is just so that this last action time is accurate, so that at this time it did actually do an action. So that's it for this code. The rest of the stuff is either incomplete or not done. So ignore this for now, you don't need to worry about this. I'm going to run the code in a different video and you'll see what this does. But yeah, for now this is where we're at. Not too far, but I plan on working a lot on it today and try and get like something working, hopefully. If you're interested in contributing, if you want to join the Git page, the Git repository, I'll put a link down below. But like I said, I'm brand new to Git, so if you do join and I'm an idiot, feel free to let me know. Other than that, I think that's about it. So if you want to see more of these videos, there's definitely going to be more coming. I plan on publishing like an entire series for this particular work we're doing. So if you want to see more of them, like, subscribe, you know what to do. If you have any suggestions on how to improve this, so for example this code right here is really messy, but it works, so I'm kind of tempted to not edit it. But if you have any ideas on how to like clean stuff up like this, let me know in the comments below. If you want to have a tutorial on Git, again let me know in the comments below, but like I say, I'm not the best on it. And yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.